Hello all, welcome back to the channel. I want to start today's video with a story which relates very much to the topic that we're going to be speaking about today. Round about 6 months ago, I had a job. Right now, I run my own business full time, but back then I had a job, okay? And the job was working in a shop. So I was working in a shop, on a shop floor basically, and the way that the shop was positioned, I was on a section near to the door. And because of the shop it was, I'm not going to give away the details, they had a security guard in the shop. And the security guard, like me, was a young guy. I'm 21, I think he was something like 19. And we were just talking, because we're on this section together basically. He's on the door, I'm in the section, but there's no customers, we can talk. And we were talking about money and the amount of money that businesses make and the amount of money that this business makes. And he was telling me about how much money this business makes and how much the company's turning over and all this sort of stuff, because he'd worked there longer than me. He must know some stuff, right? So, and then he goes on about a very interesting point. And he says the rich get rich and the poor get poorer. And I said, very true. But I said, why do you think that is? Because I'm not saying that I'm intelligent, but I did know the answer to this question in relation to the company that we worked at. And I said it's because the people on the board of directors and the CEO and other investors invest. They own shares of this company. So we work here and we can see that stock is flying off the shelves left, right and centre. We can imply that might mean that the next earnings call is going to be very good, for example. So if we really believe that to be the case, we can potentially buy shares and obviously benefit like anybody else can. That ties very nicely into the topic of the rich get rich and the poor get poorer, and perhaps why it is. Very simple, not news to anybody. I'm not saying this as something which is really profound or groundbreaking. I know you all know this, but it's context and it is important to explain. Rich people get richer because they own assets. Poor people get poorer because assets inflate. We're told that inflation affects us all in a negative way. It doesn't. It doesn't affect us all the same at all. Let me give you an example. Two people. One of these people wants to buy a house. They're in the market for a house. And the chance that they're going to buy a house is in a year from now. So a year from now, this person's going to hopefully be able to buy a house. The next person owns a house and is looking to sell that house in a year. Over the next year, house prices inflate by, we'll make the numbers easy, 10%. Right? Not saying that's realistic, it's an example. House prices inflate by 10% over a year. The person who wanted to buy a house, that house might now be out of reach, or it's significantly more than what they initially wanted to pay. We'll say it cost $250, now it costs an extra $25k, right? So terrible for that person. The person who sells the house gets to profit an extra 25k. Inflation does not affect us all the same. When stocks go up, when crypto goes up, when houses go up, when food prices go up, someone makes a profit. Be it shareholders of the companies who are selling stuff for more, be it owners of these businesses, someone is making a profit. And this is what a lot of poor people, to be honest, right? And I consider myself to be a poor person. I don't have millions. I don't have millions at all. I do not have lots of money. Now, that might be a relative term. I'm sure some people would say I do have a lot of money. I'm sure compared to a lot of my peers in my age range, I do have a lot of money. But I don't think I'm rich at all. But what a lot of my fellow poor people don't understand is why rich people get richer. Money cannot be made by anybody other than central banks and federal governments. It's just something that's in circulation. And rich people own the assets which pulls money towards them. They might own gold in economic downturns. They might buy stocks when markets crash. They might own the businesses which the masses spend at. And no, if you are poor, and when I say poor, I mean like probably less than 100k, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to capitalize upon some of those big businesses. People expect that, you know, if department stores, let's say, do well, I'm not saying that they do, well, I can't afford a department store, so it's game over for me. Plenty of rich people don't do very much for their money. And then we talk about the real passive income, which can be investing, right? Investing. Now, it's not guaranteed, it's not certain, but this is important. We all know the story about something like Bitcoin. You know, it's now at something like 110k, something like that. And back in the day, you could have picked it up for literally pennies. Pennies wouldn't have cost a thing. We all know the story about 2008 when certain big brands crashed to next to zero. Now the same stocks can sell for 50 times or more their value. Past returns are not indicative of future results. But there's something that rich people understand and do that poor people simply can't and don't. Rich people and people looking to get rich are going to have money going into the next recession. I'm not saying they're already going to be millionaires, but think about this, right? 2008, if you guys are over probably 30, probably doesn't even seem like that long ago. And by the way, for building what you might call generational wealth, it's not long at all. All you had to do is hold on to the right stocks or cryptos. And why I say this is really why the rich get rich and the poor get poorer. The rich understand that assets are the main goal to work for. The poor don't really seem to do that. And I know it's very, cliche at this point. The rich buy assets, the poor buy liability. We've all heard the stories, right? Rich dad, poor dad, all that sort of stuff. But there is truth to it. And if you guys are poor, like me, and you come from poor backgrounds, like me, you will understand this. You will know of that friend or maybe that family member that goes out and buys an unnecessarily expensive car, which is going to do nothing but lose value. Let's say it costs 20k. That same 20k invested into crypto or something could go up very much. Then people say, well, what if it goes down 50%? The car that you're going to buy is going to go down 50% anyway, or more in the next 10 years. So let's say you hold on to an investment that goes down 50%. It's never nice to lose money and nobody wants to do it. But you've got to weigh up all of the options here, right? The reason why rich people are getting richer is because they owned the assets in the first place. Once the assets started to rise, they were able to leverage the money, the capital, the gains, the returns, whatever you want to call it, on those assets to double down. Maybe it's property investors who were able to refinance deals or sell houses or properties. Maybe it's crypto investors who sold at the high and now are buying crypto down by like 30-40% in some altcoins. Maybe it's people who sold the stock market highs just a couple of months ago around Christmas and are now buying companies like Tesla, let's say, which has gone up 25% in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So imagine if you put 10k. I'm not saying do it, I'm just giving you an example. I am not a financial advisor. Don't listen to me for advice. I'm giving you a theoretical example here. Imagine putting 10k into a company that goes up 25% in a matter of a month. I'm not saying it's common. I'm not saying it's entirely possible. But that's what rich people would have done or could have done. Just 10k could have made you 2.5 in a month for nothing. Then you sell that. Now you've got 12k to invest again in something else. You see how this works? Do you see how this works? So in my personal opinion, and I'm 21, right? You can disagree with me if you want to. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I'm in beyond my depths. But if you're holding on to cash, in my humble opinion, look at the UK, right, where I am. We saw inflation last month of 3.4%. You go shopping, you're paying 50% more than what you were in 2020, 2019. The money is becoming worth less and less. And yes, if you don't have an online stream of income or any bright ideas, you're going to still need to work a job to get money. But once you've got that money, it shouldn't be spent on liabilities, especially not in today's market. It's just unfeasible. It's going to keep you poor forever, guys. The rich get rich because they buy assets, they invest in businesses, companies, and they're not afraid to take a bit of risk, right? If you've got no money and you are of the same belief of me, which is the fact that the economic downturn could be coming at some point soon, maybe. If you're of that belief like I am, stacking up cash makes the most sense. Or stacking up investments. And I say stacking up cash, even though I said cash is going down, for one reason. Cash might be going down at, let's say, 3-4% a year, something like that. But crypto, stocks, some assets, if there is a bubble and it pops, could go down significantly more. You can buy it at discounted prices and obviously sell later. And that is ultimately why rich people get richer and poor people get poorer. It sounds so basic, and I'm sure to a lot of you people this is not going to really mean anything. It's not going to even touch the sides, right? It's a hella basic explanation. But there's a lot of people who do need to hear this. Rich people buy assets, poor people buy liabilities, and that's why things go that way. Houses go up, rich people profit. Stocks go up, rich people profit. Gold prices go up, rich people profit. Classic cars go up, rich people profit. Poor people don't own them, so they get poorer and they become priced out of these markets. And it's just going one way, guys. So if you've got a chance of getting your foot on the ladder of any of these assets, maybe it's something to consider. Your choice to make. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope I'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now. See you later.